Hey, welcome to Bears Banner. My name is Bernard Muhammad. Tonight on the broadcast, got myself, Jay Beasley, Guy Moore. I think Plank will be on in it shortly. Man, what's on y'all mind tonight?
Man, ooh, you gentlemen want to take the stand first? Because I know basically,
you know what? Yeah, I start. You know what's on my mind?
Please do.
It was something I was actually about to post yesterday on Facebook, and I decided not to. But I saw this picture. But it was before I saw this picture.
Yeah.
Cody Whitehair blocking one of his own men. But actually, I was going to make this post prior to seeing that picture. What's on my mind is the Bears need a center desperately. The center is like the quarterback of the line. And what I was going to post was the Bears linemen. If I look at some of their grades, they actually grade out pretty well. But they have poor communication. And the poor communication is starting, I would say, with the center. The center has to be the guy that know how to call the protections and rally that unit together, even when it's on the sideline. And I've seen a few times this week, looking back at the game last week, where I seen Cody Whitehair call the protection or how the guys was going to slide, and he actually did opposite of what he told the guys to do.
Maybe he's left-handed,
which was odd, right? Like, hold on. And I heard that Reese, I think it was this week, a former Bear player. Who was it? I think it was Sam Mustapha. No, it wasn't. It was Chase.
Chase Daniel.
Chase Daniel. Made a comment that Cody Whitehair is a good guy, but when the snapping stuff go wrong, stuff started getting scrambled in his head about what he's supposed to do. That's on my mind right there. That was on my mind. What's on your mind, guy?
Well, let's see. Because we're in a family-oriented set of circumstances, I'm going to use some hyperboles here. We live in a confectioner's society. Why do I say that? Us old school people. I can remember back in the day when you did a sport and you lost. You didn't get a trophy for second place. You know what your trophy was? Motivation. Because you sat up there with snot bubbles in your nose crying, talking about next year, I'm going to get that trophy. And right after you left that podium, your mama had McDonald's. You wouldn't even eat the McDonald's. You went right back out in your backyard and worked out like crazy, religiously. Then when you went back, say you played ball and you went and you did something stupid in practice. And I know y'all football players understand. I had a baseball player too, but I can imagine. I remember, our coaches. They grabbing dudes by the mask. Did I tell you to do such and such? Guess what you did? Your head did all this and all that. Get over there, do whatever. You know what you did? You spun your little narrow behind around and you went, and guess what? You didn't make the same mistake again. And you know what? It gave you character. In Chicago, you out there in that freezing cold. You remember that. You remember what it felt like to lose. That weather didn't mean nothing. You went out like a dog. Why do I say that? There was a particular incident that happened this week where Steve Smith Sr. basically criticized Jerry Jeudy. And he said, well, I was kind of, I called him a 3-tier wide receiver and all that stuff. And I realized I was wrong. I was trying to apologize to him. And he said, let's put it this way, superhero that's usually dressed in black with the mask over your face, I don't mess with you.
Mm-hmm.
So this era of athlete and males, they just straight up, like I said, a confectionery society, they straight up cake. They so sensitive. They don't take constructive criticism. Steve Smith Sr. was like, when he was talking, Steve Smith was like, you know where I'm at. And that's how it was. You fell out on your shield. If I had a problem with one of y'all back in the day and we got into an argument, guess what? We was like, okay, I'll see you at 3 o'clock. It wasn't 9 or 10 other dudes. It was me and you. We fought, win, lose, or draw. Even if I lost, I got character in losing and the person beat me, gave me respect. And it was like it was two men had their problems and they handled their function. Or when they're in a situation where you lose, I'm upset about losing.
Mhm.
I don't even want no second place trophy. The problem with sports today and these young men out here right now, everybody want to pull out pistols, everybody in their field, and it transfers to sports. I have
Right. Hey, what's up, Plank? Welcome to the show.
What's up, Plank?
What's up, fellas? How y'all doing, man?
All
Good
right,
to see you.
bro.
Yeah,
We're good.
just
We're
asking
good.
what's on your mind. What's on your mind, Jay?
Bears related. Unfortunately, like I was telling you before we, got on the broadcast, I'm just tired of the mediocrity, man. At some point, this charter franchise of the NFL has got to get it together. And right now, it's looking like it's going to be a year 3 of a rebuild, and I just don't get it. I don't understand. When is it going to be our time? As I said, Bernard, right now the NFL itself is mediocre as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. We got about 5 good teams, and we got like 5 bad teams, and then the other 22 teams are like stuck in the middle. And it's just like that's what's on my mind. I'm just tired of the Bears and their mediocrity, and as a season ticket holder, it's becoming real hard to continue to support. And I'm not never saying I'm gonna give up on my team, but what I mean by support is like I tell y'all, when I go to Bears games on Sunday, that's a 0 paid day for me. So I'm taking off a day to watch the Bears embarrass themselves. They're getting paid, and I'm sitting in the stands. It ain't making my money. So that's what's on my mind. Outside of that, just the NFL itself. All these teams that we thought were going to be or that were hyped up to be good, they just mediocre.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Hey, Plank, what's on your mind?
Oh my goodness, I'm gonna piggyback on what my cohorts, these two brothers were talking about. First of all, there's such thing as pride, intestinal fortitude, that is inherent within men. A lot of what we're talking about, and I'm not getting into an argument or fight of men versus women, but a lot of what's happening is there's a difference between masculine energy versus feminine energy. It just is. The Bears have a lot of feminine energy unnecessarily. I mean, unfortunately. The issue that I'm seeing with the Bears is there's no way that a team with pride can go through a 14-game losing streak over 2 seasons. Now, you might go through some stuff where you get a bad hand and bad pitch, and you go through a Tampa Bay situation where you just lose every game. Or you go through a Detroit situation where in a season they lose from the first game to the last game. That's because they don't have the talent. The Bears knew going in what they were faced with. They supposedly had a better plan to deal with it, and now we're still getting new guys that are going out here and learning how to lose. So it's frustrating to me. From a competitive standpoint, I'm still a fan of the Bears, and you can see me as a competitor even in my fandom. I always think the Bears are going to win because I expect something to come up out of them that I have yet to see yet. My issue with the Bears is when I compete at anything, I don't care if it's work, I competed cutting the grass against
right.
Thank you.
The worst thing you can do to me, the worst thing you can do to me as a competitor is beat me, because that next time they see me, I'm not gonna be the same guy. It drives me. It turns me into something else. That's what masculine energy does. Feminine energy, and I'll go ahead and stop, makes a lot of excuses and says you should feel sorry for me. Ain't nobody gonna feel sorry for you. It's time for the Bears to again start hitting some people in the mouth. I don't care if it's Tyson Bagent, Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, Joe Montana. You have to play better, and everybody out there has to do their job. So sorry about going on that rant, but I've been holding.
Yes, sir.
Real quick, I was gonna say real
Hey,
quick.
what you got, Jay?
No, I was gonna say real quick. Shout out to one of my co-workers who just went on, Ben Pinkston. Shout out to you. Hit the subscribe button, Ben. Appreciate
Yes,
you checking in.
Good to see you. Okay.
Yeah, Plank. This team has to take responsibility. All you can really do is you go out and compete, and you go out and compete with the players you got, and you put your best effort forward. But this is what I don't want to see as a fan. I don't want you to be struggling with the bare minimum basics, right? Like I'm just pointing out a few things. I know I mentioned the line. If you're gonna play center, you work on your snaps. Your snaps got to be there. I'm not saying every snap is gonna be perfect. You ain't gonna have one that you hike it too low, one every blue moon that's gonna go overhead. We should not be having this repeatedly happen in the same game. Okay, that's the bare minimum of being that position. If you're gonna be a center, well, guess what you say? I can't play that position. I'm not good at that, right? That's where your self-analysis of yourself come in at. I can't do that. I know y'all need somebody, man. Maybe y'all need to sign somebody on free agency, right? We went to game 6 and we still talking about one center who can't block, and we talking about another center who can't even get the snap right, and then he's getting confused about the protection. That's the bare minimum, So that's what's kind of bugs me about this team too, is some of the bare minimum that you're struggling with, and some of the bare minimum is the individual. You can blame whatever you want on coaches, but I will say this: since Lovie Smith left, you can't have a new coach every 2 or 3 years either, and a new general manager. Well, Lovie Smith been gone since 2012. And since he's been gone, you've had Trestman, John Fox, Nagy, and then now Eberflus. That's four coaches in 10 years or 12 years, whatever it is. And you didn't had you on your third general manager. That's the stuff Cleveland Brown used to do. You having a rotation of quarterbacks, coaches, GM. You gotta. So us as fans, we may not like the losing, and I may be on here saying fire this person that, but you don't build a franchise by continuing to fire people over.
Right. And see, that's the thing, because now it's at this point where everybody's saying fire Eberflus, and you know what? At this point, I'm saying fire Eberflus. Right. But so now you got a new you got a new boss in Warren. Mm-hmm. And now you got Poles who hired Eberflus. So what's Kevin Warren thing? Like, okay, I can just fire both of y'all and I can just bring my own people in. So now you bring your own people in, and now it's starting all over again.
That's true.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's starting all over again, because now you got a president that's gonna hire himself a GM, then that GM gonna hire himself a coach, and now you got Justin Fields as the quarterback. He's like, I didn't draft that guy. So now you got a new coach that wants a new quarterback to do what he want to do with him. It's like a washing machine, or not a dryer, where it's just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning.
And the thermostat went out.
And then if you don't set the timer, if you don't set the timer, it ain't gonna shut off.
Right.
It ain't gonna shut off.
And the sad part is, I think what happens is we're all cut from a different cloth, from a different era. We would be okay if they lost 14 in a row. They just didn't have enough. But every doggone player knew their assignment, did their assignment, and they just went kuyuns to the wall playing hard, and they lost. You'd be like, well, they just ain't got enough. Now it's up to the front office to get some guys that can compliment them. But I can remember back in the day, man, they call them like the cardiac kids, Cleveland Browns. They had this quarterback, Brian Sipe. That's one of the worst playoff teams I ever saw in my life. But you know what them dudes did? It's called the cardiac kids, because when it was like 2 minutes, one left, all these super teams that they was playing, they found themselves on their toes. Like, these dudes might score and win. You know what? They didn't even have a tenth of the talent. But you know what? Everybody on that squad believed in each other. They knew they didn't have the talent, but you have to convince me that you can beat me. That's where our problem is. There's too many athletes out here, and guys ain't out here doing their job. Like you said, we had 2 centers. Ugh.
If you got 2 of them, that means you don't have none. Plank last year or maybe early this year, Plank said, "Man, Cody Whitehead's done. He's old," and Plank actually called it.
He sure did.
I tell you what, Bernard. Here's a big problem with the Bears as well. It's not just the Bears. It's actually the entire NFL today. It might be all professional sports. You have players are too comfortable with not being available.
Yep.
So it's okay to not only participate and have a practice or not playing the game. They don't understand the saga of Wally Pipp. Wally Pipp was a guy that was a great baseball player. He played for the Yankees. He was out there whooping butt, and everybody expected that. And then one day he got hurt, and he was replaced by a guy that didn't come off the field for another 15 to 20 years, Lou Gehrig. So today, does anybody remember Wally Pipp? No, because he got hurt. He was like, "Oh, well, I'll be all right. I'll take one day off, and I'll be okay." He never got that other opportunity.
Well, like I say,
these guys on the bench. I hope Tyson Bagent has a good game or whatever. It's actually looking worse and worse as I start hearing about all of the stuff that's happening and all the other injuries.
Yeah,
but we're a little bit too comfortable with being mediocre.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. That's the thing. Us as Bears fans, us as season ticket holders, as we go out there and what I tell y'all know y'all see it when y'all watch it, but y'all don't understand the hype that goes around in the parking lots, the tailgating. The fans are with this team, and it's like y'all continue to put this on the field, and we're just not satisfied. It gets to a point where it gets so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
You know what I wish though? I wish in a way, from a business standpoint, that the Bears could do an initial public offering and offer some shares to the fans. Because now what happens is
Green Bay style.
Because it changes a lot of stuff though, man. Because you look at things like us, like I said, we're very passionate about guys. We love to see guys play, and one of the most recent guys who fell into that same Wally Pipp category was who else? TB12, 199th drafted guy. You, Mr. Kraft, you are not going to regret this. That dude kept that chip on his shoulder till he walked away. And us old school people, as much as a lot of us hated New England, we love what he stood for. It's too many dudes out here right now, not just the Bears, but I can say the Bears is us that's getting a paycheck. Like they say, they getting a paycheck and they don't deserve to have one.
Yeah. And Plank, that was a great point you made about not being available. I mean, you see people for the littlest thing. Yeah, I understand they're making a lot of money and it's entertainment, but you know what? You're gonna make in these, for some people, average person, 6 years. You're probably gonna make more in these 6 years than you ever gonna make the rest of your life, right? Now the superstars gonna make money probably the rest of their life because those are the guys that are gonna have the endorsement. Those are the Tom Brady's and all that. But that's not the average guy. The average guy, that 5 or 6 year window, and you cannot afford to be unavailable. And unless if it's serious, you can't play. If you can't play, you can't play. That's all it is. But it's just like the little stuff. And then you're there, like your example, you were talking about energy. You could see like at times you're like, man, are they over there pouting? Right? You wonder like if some of these players over there pouting. I mean, it's funny, years ago we was making fun of the Jay Cutler face. Well, half the damn team got the Jay Cutler face.
With half the talent, some of them.
So, man. Hey, but y'all want to do any recap of the game? Anything from the game, if y'all watched it again, that y'all wanted to bring up that y'all would say after the game?
Yeah, from what I saw, it looked like Tyson Bagent was on time with most of his plays. I liked the whole timing of what he brought to the game. He came in as being confident. Don't worry about it. I got you or whatever, which is kind of what you need to hear if you're going to go in a battle and you want somebody to be a leader. He didn't play as well as he could have. That fumble, unacceptable. You got to do better. But even in the play with that fumble, there were 3 missed blocks on one play. You just playing the percentages. How does 60% of the guys that are blocking for you fall down on the same play? It makes no sense. So I'm hoping that Tyson Bagent does a good job. I don't have a lot of confidence that the Bears are going to be able to overcome this because it's too much to put on one player. The whole team needs to get together and have some kind of response to all of this lackluster play.
Pride.
Yeah.
Pride.
What you had, Jay? Like you had something?
No, I was just gonna follow what Plank was saying. It's just like, the lackluster effort is what gets me. And not only that, I didn't do the post game with y'all, but a lot of this to me is coaching. A lot of this to me is coaching because you play a good game against Denver and you lose. You play a great game against the Commanders and you win. And both of those games you put up points. I mean, you lit the scoreboard up. But then you had 10 days off. You have 10 days off to play a Minnesota team without Justin Jefferson, and you at home. And this is the game plan that you came out with. And I'm not trying to hear Khalil Herbert, no Roshan Johnson. Deontay Foreman is a capable back.
Right.
He's a capable back. And then just to watch the tape in the all-22 where you see guys blocking the wrong people and they blocking their own people, and then you got Justin rolling out in a wide open DJ Moore standing there with his hands and he take a sack. It's just all these things. To me, that's coaching. And that comes from the coaches not being able to use Stephen A's term, rally the troops, galvanize the troops. This coaching staff just is not doing it. And it's unfortunate. And again, I'm just going to say this coaching staff needs to be fired. But it brings up a whole lot of different challenges when it comes to this team. And right now, the Bears can't afford this. I mean, we typically are the laughingstock of the NFL right now, in my opinion.
Right.
In my opinion.
Yeah, Jay, that's why, I mean, even though I brought up the rant about coaches, my whole point was eventually you got to figure out the coaching, right? But, Jay, I definitely agree with you on that point because you have too much confusion that's going on the basic things. And if you can't get the basics right, I don't see how you perform. And guess what? Getsy, I'm gonna use him as an example. It's almost like sometimes he's operating like Nagy. I didn't come here to run the I formation. No, you came here to win games.
Right.
If you want to prove that you could pass to win the games, guess what? You don't have it. You don't have the people to do that right now, right? There's no knock on Justin Fields or anybody. Play to the strength of your team, right?
That's it.
Simplify.
That's it.
The execution of what's supposed to be done. Running makes your life easier than run the ball. Pass when you have to. I know we want to argue about if Justin Fields this and that. Skip all that. It ain't about Justin Fields. Right now, what you could do is scrap that. Justin Fields has a thumb injury. He's out until further notice. He might not even come back this year. We don't know. So,
but again,
you have to figure out how to win games and to grow and develop your current players that are playing.
But again, Bernard, just to piggyback off that, what I say is, y'all heard me say this all the time. They say it's a passing league. Says who?
Mm-hmm.
Says who? My thing is this: you cater to your strength. Mm-hmm. The Bears led the league in rushing last year with a bad offensive line. They were supposed to have an upgraded line this year. Now they're not running the football. I can't understand why you just can't cater to the players you had. I said it all the time when Nagy was here. You can't call plays like you coaching Patrick Mahomes with Tyreek Hill.
Right.
You have to call plays that cater to the players that you have. Justin Fields, as we saw against Denver and against Washington, if you run plays that cater to his strengths, you're going to be successful.
Yep.
That's all.
Keyword is run.
It's not hard. I mean, I'm not a head coach. I don't get paid like one, but it's simple. It's not that hard. I don't think it's that hard.
Well, real talk though, Jay, you're not a head coach, but you've been watching enough football to see what works and what doesn't work. Somebody, if they hired me right now as a head coach, y'all be laughing y'all behinds off. But guess what? We'll be leading the league in rushing. I throw the wishbone on them. They're like, who runs the wishbone? They're like, wait a minute, they get like 9 yards to carry, because like you said, man, and the onus is they say that it's a passing league. It's whatever I run, you got to stop it, and whatever's not being stopped, that's what league it is. So.
Right. If I decide to run the ball 40 times, if I decide to run the ball 45 times a game, if I'm getting 4, 5, 6 yards to carry, I don't care if they say it's a passing league. It doesn't matter. All I'm doing is moving the chains and scoring points. That's all that count in the NFL to me.
Yeah, Jay, and I think what the problem is the Bears is kind of caught in this weird place, right? They're in a place where they actually are in the second year of rebuilding, but it really this is the first year of the building, right? Last year, you got all these new parts.
Right.
The simplest thing to do on offense is to run with that many parts. Then it got complicated because you had so many injuries to your line. I understand you want to develop your quarterback because you want to figure out if he's should be a standard next year or should you have to draft somebody. I understand. So it's making you try to call offenses to see can he do this. Scrap that. I'm telling you, scrap that. He come back, he figure out what he got to figure out. You have to call a game plan that works to your strength and to win a game. Look, whoever that quarterback is, if he only throw the ball 14 times and you win, I don't care. I don't care.
Bernard, that's such a good point that you brought up because a lot of times as fans we get lost in that. Last year was the tear down.
Mm-hmm.
This year is the rebuild year.
Yeah.
You tore it down last year. You wasn't rebuilding last year. You tore it down. With the trade of Roquan Smith and Quinn and all these guys that you didn't bring back. You got rid of Khalil Mack and Hicks and all those guys. That was the tear down. Mm-hmm. This year is actually the rebuild. And us as fans, as much as we're frustrated about it, we have to realize if we're going to do a complete tear down in 2022 and start the rebuild in 2023, then maybe next year we'll have something. But us as fans, we're not patient like that. Us as owners, those that are owners, they're not patient like that. They looking for, okay, we tore it down, but tore it down / rebuilt last year. Now this year we need some success. So it's one of the things where you have to understand when it comes to football, you have to understand. This is why I don't talk football with a lot of people because they had these notions where they'd be like, well, they tore it down and it was rebuilding last year. Yeah, no, they tore it down. They didn't rebuild nothing. They tore it down last year. So that was a great point. Great point, Bernard.
Sorry, Bernard. I had a question for the rest of the group that I was just thinking about. All this talk has been about Justin Fields and Caleb Williams and what have you. I looked today at the starting quarterbacks for the 32 teams out there. I don't see anything more than maybe 2 really good quarterbacks in the entire league. So they're talking about replacing Justin Fields and let's get this new guy. I'm looking at the quarterbacks that most of these teams are sending out, and I'm like, all of these guys are garbage. Of course, you got Patrick Mahomes, and then somebody else, and week to week, I can't even tell who that other guy is. Joe Burrow is garbage this year.
Yeah, Joe Cool.
David Carr has always been. I can't name a good quarterback on the other team, so I'm amazed that everybody's conversation is let's tear down the Bears and replace Justin Fields, and I'm like, and replace him with who? It's gonna be the same thing.
Mm-hmm. This gonna be a whole nother show because I'm still not there yet. Whether the Bears need to draft a quarterback or not, I'm still not there. But on the text we were saying, if the Bears got the number 1 pick,
And
do you
2.
draft Caleb Williams?
No. That's right now. But, you know, Bernard helped me with that.
It's a whole nother show.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother show. But the Bears are in a really unique position right now. Yeah. Only because we actually thought the Bears were going to be decent this year. But now we're looking like the Bears could possibly wind up with 2 picks.
2 picks here
in the top 5. It's a real unique position to be in.
So.
Yeah, that's why not to stray too much. What was that playing? I'm sorry.
That just means the Bears are going to turn into Jacksonville. If you go back a couple years, Jacksonville had back-to-back suck teams where they were so bad that they got 2 number 1 picks in a row. Does Jacksonville really scare anybody though?
No.
See, Bernard, you help me.
Well, they actually beat a mediocre Saints team right now, 14-3.
You help me, Bernard. Hey, you'll help me because you put a text. Remember you was watching Caleb Williams, and you put the text out there was like he holding the ball too long. And you know what? And what happens is the blessing that I have having you guys on text and talking football. You guys eat, drink, and sleep football. So there's certain nuances that I look for, and y'all looking for the same thing. So we like kindred spirits. And when you said that, I actually looked, and the first thing I thought of was Justin Fields. He had a pro offensive line at Ohio State, so he could hold the ball. But if you want to fix your quarterback, they're talking about all these doggone bells and whistles. Execution is something about psychologically as a quarterback. If you hand the ball off to a guy, he's getting 6-7 yards. You throw a quick screen, you get 5-6 yards. Seeing completions and seeing yards, that to me is better development because guess what? Now you go in with an open. You don't feel like you have to save the world. Justin is trying to be too cute. And like I said, right now with where we are, we already got other problems. We out here trying to change all the parts. You got to figure something out. You want to either get guys to get on their shield or whatever, you know.
Yeah, so you got to figure out what you're good at. What are you good at in the goal line? What are you good at?
What's your identity?
Right.
What is your identity? What is your identity?
What's your identity on defense, right? What do you do that work all the time? And right now, what we have discovered in the last year and a half, at least from my perspective, it's no slant, but I just try to keep it real. Your quarterback is not your strength right now, right? He's not your strength. That's okay because, like Plank said, most of the quarterbacks are just below. They suck or they below average.
They're average.
That's fine. You can still win games with your quarterback that's being average or subpar right now. Teams are only averaging 20 points, but what you can't do is you can't turn the ball over. You can't keep turning the ball over. And you gotta at least be able to block. You can't be confused about, and then when defense, your job as a secondary is to cover. If you run a zone, cover your zone. If you run a man, cover your man. If you can't stick that man, you communicate that I'm having problems. I may need help over top. Simple, right? So what we should not be seeing is a guy continuously to be wide open in a zone. Okay, let's get together and figure out how can we fix that. We can't allow this to happen. Now, a defense should not be able to line up, put pressure on you in a certain gap. He hit your quarterback. If they go back to that same formation 3 plays later, you should have talked about that and fixed that. Now this team sitting up there like, man, we could do this 5-6 times.
We do, yep.
That's what makes you the laughing stock, like Jay said, because why?
Yep.
Teams have figured out. See, I did say, and I didn't want to make it sound like it was hate on Justin Fields. I was just saying, man, the Commanders was being stupid because they were so arrogant about their front four could get there. They never put no bizarre looks on the Bears. They just put the four and just rushed the four. And they just stood there and got picked apart, and they just lived with it. Hey, sometimes we figure out it ain't the quarterback all the time to confuse. Sometimes the linemen are confused. You know, right. You got guards blocking, letting the guy in the middle run straight up. So the main thing is do your job. So now we're facing a Raiders team who playing their backup quarterback. We don't know which one. Who y'all think playing? I guess it's gonna be Brian Hoyer.
I don't know who he is.
well, the Raiders are 3-3, so it ain't like they 1-5 like us. So they probably gonna start Brian Hoyer. I would think they're probably gonna start Brian Hoyer.
Okay.
And they look like they have a few injuries. I'm kind of getting scared playing what you're saying. It looked like Nate Davis, he's out, right?
Yeah, he got a high ankle sprain. He's gone for at least 4 to 6.
Yeah.
He got a high ankle sprain. He going at least 4 to 6.
Darnell Wright didn't practice this week so far, right?
Darnell Wright didn't practice. They didn't rule him
He's
out.
gonna play.
I think he's gonna play.
Just looking at what he brings, he's gonna find a way to get out there on Sunday. So I'm good with him. But
Okay.
I see the point.
So we got we got Cody Whitehair. I don't even see why he can get back on the field at this point. But the problem is you got a center that can't block. And I heard a rumor, I may be wrong, that they're gonna move Tevin Jenkins
Back to right.
over to left. No, right. They're gonna put him as the right guard.
From what I heard, that's the plan. They finna move Tevin back to the right, which is where he played at last year, and they're gonna put Cody at left. But you know what? My thing is, to me, as long as Tevin Jenkins is on the field, he brings the nasty to this whole offensive line. So it as long as he's on the field, I really don't even care where he's playing at. But what I would really like to see is Doug Kramer playing center right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, man.
Because guess what? We need to find out, because Lucas Patrick is garbage. He's in the last year of his contract. He's finna make $4 million to sell off. We need to find out if Doug Kramer can be the future center for this team. He played at Illinois, so he played he played against some good competition. Yeah. We need to find out if he can actually be our center. Let's start grooming him, because guess what? We can start grooming because we 1-5. We 1-5. We ain't no playoff aspirations. We ain't looking at, we gonna be in the hunt. You know how they have, they like the playoffs, the division leaders, and then they got these people that they got in the hunt. We ain't finna be in none of that. We ain't finna be in none of that.
And the sad part about it, remember we were kids like back in the 70s, it was one player in the AFC in the 70s, and he was almost as famous as the wide receivers and the quarterbacks. That was Mike Webster for the Steelers. That dude be out there 78 below zero, short sleeve shirts, arms jacked. When he snapped the ball, it just seemed like guys would pass. How you doing, Mr. I think I'm going to go this way. Because guess what? Not only was he going to block, you was going to be hurting going back. I missed that, man. Oh, I missed
what? So, did Mike Webster, didn't he graduate from Weston?
No.
Okay, because the Steelers had a player that was from Weston that started.
I didn't know DB. Webster, Steelers. Yeah, I can't remember his name right now.
Okay.
Hey, have y'all seen Darnell Mooney? I'm just asking. I'm putting an all-point bulletin out there of missing persons.
Well, guess what? When you got a quarterback that's not getting the ball to people that's open, and then when they open, you miss them. Because that game against, I want to say that was Denver, where he missed Darnell Mooney a couple of times, where he was wide open. And as a former wide receiver in college, in high school, I just feel like it's so unfair. People be like, well, what Darnell Mooney at? Well, guess what? I was open. The quarterback just didn't get me the ball.
Did you see Darnell Mooney miss that block? There's no excuse for that.
Hey. But you know what? It's a trickle-down effect.
It is.
It's a trickle-down effect for the whole team.
It is.
One person missing an assignment, not everybody missing an assignment.
That's why you need some gangster veterans.
I take my glasses off.
It seems like he seemed confused on that play, right? Like he was about to go do something else, and then you're like, I need to block this guy, right?
Yes.
So that means you're not concentrating. And I know coaches always say, coaches going to say, if we could fix all the small details, right? But really, the small details are why you lose games.
Yep, absolutely.
The big things you can fix. It's the small stuff, right? The small stuff. But what you can't have is all the small stuff happening at the same time, or the point or what to play at like that. He blocks that guy. It's a catch.
It's a catch for DJ Moore and maybe a few yards. So it's the little things that happen in games where it trickles down to be a big thing. It's oh my God, it's so pathetic.
How successful can you be as a center that's got two first names,
It's
Lucas
so
and
pathetic.
Patrick?
We keep hearing Eberflus talk about accountability, and every player has a certain standard that they go to. He's not following the standard. When he replaced Cody Whitehair with Patrick, his conversation, he said, well, it's because we wanted the more experienced center. No! Cody Whitehair has 3 times as many snaps at center than Patrick. So how can you say that's the reason? You clearly don't know what you're looking at.
And see, that's the reason. And see, that's the reason why I need him to be gone, because Eberflus holds he don't hold nobody accountable. He don't hold nobody accountable. Right. Don't tell me that when we brought Tyson Bagent in and we figured that Patrick Lucas be better because he practiced with him. Look, I'm not Boo Boo the fool.
Yeah,
I know football, and guess what? Tyson Bagent is running your scout team. Who's your scout team center? It ain't Patrick. It ain't Lucas Patrick. So don't feed me that garbage where you're saying, just tell me we benched Cody White because his snapping was poor. Hold them accountable, and you're not holding players accountable, and that's why I can't see you lasting longer than this year, because nice. When you're a head coach, you're not nice. You're not nice. You're holding players accountable.
Yeah,
and you're not doing that.
Accountability is when you talking to the media. Tell them exactly what you believe.
That's it.
Yep.
That's
Say, you know what? Justin Fields sucked today, so that's why we went to different running plays. This guy missed too many blocks, so we took him out the game. Eberflus is always trying to be nice, and unfortunately, the guys that are buttholes end up being the most successful coaches.
Because I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. Luke Gessie press conference today was really, he impressed me because he actually did hold Justin accountable on a couple of plays where they asked him about that first some of the plays. He was like, hey, we snapped the ball. We was in 21 personnel. We snapped the ball. All he had to do was drift back and throw the ball before that defensive lineman got in his face. All he had to do was drift back and throw it. He had 2 people wide open. So I came home, of course, me being greedy. I came home and I looked it up, and I'm looking at the play like, damn, Justin, all you had to do was drift back and throw the ball.
Yeah. You know what? I know I don't want to stay on this play too long, but Jay, you're definitely right. You know what? You could have went deep on your drop because you obviously had to have seen the guy. It ain't like he jumped. It ain't like he jumped into that he was on blitz at the last minute. He was standing there. From
he was coming. He was coming right at you.
You was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody had somebody in front of them. So like that's my man. My man is him. So I either got to get rid of it if I got to either step and throw or take my drop back. If you think about it, the gas line is straight down the line.
Boom.
And he just stood there and got hit. But I like what you said, that Gessie held him accountable.
He held him accountable. He definitely held him accountable for that.
I think Olin had a problem with the shotgun because Cutler wanted to be shotgun, right? And I think when they first got it, Cutler wanted shotgun, and Olin was kind of struggling. But guess what? If you can't do shotgun, the center, Olin was like, hey, they just better run on the center pretty much, right? They stayed on the center until Olin Cruz got comfortable doing shotgun. So why are the Bears in those situations continuing to allow their center to do faulty snaps when, hey, you know what? You guys just got to block. Our quarterback has to come and go on the center because we can't be affording to throw off the timing of the routes and everything because the balls are going low, the balls are going high. If it was a quick throw, he's looking at the ground because he got to get the snap up.
Right.
So,
right.
Hey,
so that everything is already.
Yeah. Plank said it perfectly. He said the definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again, expecting things to change. Here's the deal: Herbert, Tevin Jenkins, Darnell Wright, I got DJ, maybe Khalil Herbert, maybe Komet or something like that. Y'all may find some people outside of them. Everybody else, I walk up in practice and say, guess what? Y'all doing y'all reps, but you're not playing. And just, hey, because what's going to go? I mean, you're either going to get them out there and going to lose, or you're going to bring some new guys out there like, wait, y'all going to let me play? They may play above their pay scale and may be better. And it may do two things. One, this young dude may have got a job. He may have gotten himself a job in the NFL, or it may have sent a spark to some of these dudes realizing, man, I'm making some good money here, but if I leave here and I'm playing like this, ain't nobody going to pay me this.
Yeah. So hey, let's get to this. I know we kind of run out of time. We didn't get too much to the game yet. How did the Bears win this game? How did the Bears pull off a win Sunday?
You got to run the football. You got to run the football with a UDFA, which I was saying all preseason when they talk about Tyson Bagent. You got an undrafted free agent that's going to be running your squad against a bad team. I mean, the Raiders are they're a bad team. They got 3 wins, but they're a bad team. They are a bad team. Right. You got to run the football. You got to run the football. Let Deontay Foreman get lathered up and let him run the football. And I actually got a little faith in Tyson Bagent. As much as a Justin Fields fan I am, he's still an undrafted free agent. Y'all know I hate rookies. I don't like rookies. I don't like rookies because they
one-dimensional too.
They not unless you prime, you ain't wired for the NFL like that. You're not wired for the NFL. So you got to run the football. And Eberflus, I can say, has been bringing a little bit more pressure because he realized he's not getting pressure with his front four. So he's kind of scheming up some blitzes. So I like that. But in order to win this football game, you got to shorten the game. And when you run the football, you shorten the game. Mm-hmm. So that's what my key is.
Yeah, you got to. I agree with you, Jay. You got to run the ball. You got to get this team susceptible to sacks. So you got to get to the quarterback because if you think about it, Khalil Mack has 6 sacks against the Raiders. He only got 7 for the year.
Right.
All his sacks was against the Raiders. I mean, that's not no knock on him, but that showed that there was some match up that he was winning. I think he had. But of course. He had 2 turnovers, and it was from that same game. So that just shows it's a matchup you could exploit as the Bears team. So they need to exploit that matchup.
I'm sorry, Bernard, but of course, all Bears fans like we should never got rid of Khalil Mack. He had 6 sacks in the game. Yeah, he was playing against a bad defense. He's playing against a bad offensive line. Yeah. He got 7 for the year. 6 in one game against the Raiders. Come on.
Right.
He's 211 years old, man. Forget that.
What's the keys to winning, Plank?
Exactly what Jay just said. Run the ball. It makes you more aggressive. It puts the other team on the defense, and it gives your linemen the opportunity to get some continuity. That's actually what we need. So run the ball on offense. Stop the run on defense. Defense has actually done a really good job the last couple games.
I know, right?
We don't give Flus a whole lot of flowers or nothing like that. But he finally stopped the streak where we gave up over 25 points a game, and now it's kind of falling under the radar. We're not actually seeing the defense gave up what
13 points. 13
last
points.
game.
13 points.
We need to stop the run. So I think he's doing some good things on defense. From a tackling standpoint, we have to stick to the fundamentals. Because we had too much bad tackling, and that's what caused our defense to be bad. So we can just get the basics. I think defensively we'll be okay.
And the Raiders are averaging 2.9 yards per carry this year, and that's with Josh Jacobs. And that's with Josh Jacobs. He has more yards receiving than he has rushing.
Rushing yards, yeah.
That's criminal.
That's
criminal. Josh Jacobs is a dog.
For the say he led the league in rushing last year, he's averaging 2.9 yards per carry.
So don't wake him up this week. So go ahead.
Hey, guy, what's the
That's
key?
the reason why I mentioned it. That's the reason why I mentioned it. Go ahead, guy.
65-35 run, basically.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, you know what Bajan brings that Justin Fields doesn't, and it's not a knock towards Fields or saying that he's handicapped. He doesn't have the same personnel like facilities Justin Fields has. Justin Fields has legs too. So a lot of times when you're that type of quarterback, you know in the back of your mind, if I drop back, ain't nobody there, I got to go. But with a guy like Bajan, he doesn't have that same speed facility. So he has to concentrate on his throws, which why it looked like he was making better decisions throwing the ball. You know, let him throw the ball about 15, 16 times a game. Let them keep running and run that clock. Because people don't realize, like I said, it's a passing league. But if I keep getting first downs and running, I'm running the clock and you can't stop me. 65-35 run.
2 for 2.
Oh, 2 for 2.
2 for 2.
Uh-oh.
Oh, okay. Hey, 2 for 2. What do y'all got for 2 for 2? 2 for 2 for those who are new to the show is your top 2 teams in the NFL currently right now and your 2 bottom teams in the NFL right now. You know, thank everybody who's tuning in tonight on Facebook and YouTube. Hit the subscribe button at the bottom and turn on that notification bell so you know when we load new content. My 2 bottom teams are the Panthers this week and the Bears. My top 2 teams are the 49ers and the Dolphins, which is actually my game of the week.
Uh-huh.
The Dolphins.
You know what?
No. I'm sorry. Game of the week is the Dolphins and the Eagles.
And Philly and the Eagles.
And the Eagles.
That's gonna be a good game, man.
Well, I'm
Anybody
gonna
got
steal
2
your
for
thunder.
2?
I'm gonna steal your
Denver
thunder. Okay, go ahead.
and the Bears. My top 2 teams are Kansas City and Detroit.
Good call. I like it.
Ooh, I like that. Well, I'm gonna go with the bottom 2.
Detroit and Baltimore. We're not gonna have to hear about how many tackles Roquan Smith made this week, because that's gonna be a good clash. Montgomery versus Roquan. Let's see how that plays out.
But Montgomery is out. You know, Montgomery's hurt. You know,
Then I guess it's not gonna play out.
Again, Bears fans like, why would he sign David Montgomery? Guess what?
Yeah.
Montgomery always go through a stint where he's gonna have some type of bang up. But my bottom 2, I'm gonna follow Bernard. No, I'm not. I'm gonna say the Panthers and the Bears.
Yeah.
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Panthers and the Bears?
Panthers and
Okay.
Bears.
Yeah, I got that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go with my top. I'm still gonna say I don't care what nobody says. San Francisco and the Chiefs. San Francisco, you know, I don't know what happened with them last week. PJ Walker, the quarterback that we cut, wind up beating San Francisco last week. But I still San Francisco and the Chiefs, and I'm gonna go a 2A. I'm gonna go a 2B with Philly, even though they lost last week.
I'm going 49ers and Dolphins, my top, and of course, Carolina Bears.
They earned the honors.
The Bears.
It's a
That's
passing
sad,
league.
man.
But
That's
if Philadelphia
sad, man.
lead the yard, what do they do? As much of a passing league as it is, anytime Philadelphia needs short yardage,
They run the
what do they
football.
everybody knows what they're gonna do. Nobody stops it.
The brotherly shove is what they call
The
it
Bears
now.
have the same thing. The Bears are just as good on that push touch play if they bundle everybody in there together the same way. So you see them doing it, we can do that too. We got Tevin Jenkins in there. It'll be all right.
Yeah. Hey, I see Mo Man said his bottom 2 is the Panthers and the Bears. And Mo
He's
Man
right.
said his top
KC
2
and
is
49ers.
KC and the 49ers.
Yeah.
He said Philly hasn't really looked good, to be honest. Okay.
But and the sad thing about it is, he said Philly ain't really look good. Kansas City ain't really looked all that good either.
No.
They have
The experience.
Right.
is awful.
But experience is a mofo. And when you have a winning culture,
Yeah.
you can actually win games where you don't look that impressive. They just
who did Kansas City
traded
move to?
Detroit.
Detroit.
Ah, Okay, gotcha.
And
First game of the
and-
season too.
First game.
and they actually just made a trade. They brought back Mecole Hardman from the Jets.
Wow.
So their whole thing was like, we lacking a little something. We got everything we need, but we lacking a little something. Let's bring Mecole Hardman back. And guess what?
He can
He's
play way
third.
better.
He's third on Patrick Mahomes' list in touchdown receptions.
He gonna be a
You got
dog coming back because he really
Travis
look
Hill.
like the losing.
You got Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, and Mecole Hardman as the three top players that's caught touchdowns from Patrick Mahomes.
So basically,
So-
Patrick
You know
Mahomes
what?
just
I know
dropped back
one
with his eyes
player the
closed.
Bears
and does
need.
this.
If the Bears get this one player, it'll turn our season around. Steve Smith. Oh, he retired, didn't he?
He retired, ain't he?
Angry enough, he was about to jump on Judy on the sideline.
Yeah, he was.
But
Yeah, he was.
But
Yeah, he
you know
was.
what? I hate to say it, a lot of people say he's what this league needs. We need a vet that's gonna walk up in these dudes' faces and say, man, you playing like crap. It's too many of these young guys out here who are just so self-absorbed and I'm just gonna get this back, or I'm gonna get my numbers, we ain't gonna play right. I'm not saying the players don't care, but it's not enough players like Steve Smith that's willing to walk up to anybody from offensive lineman to a kick and walk right in their face.
Yeah, I always like to go back to when Peyton Manning, I think he was mic'd up in that game too. So he's on the
Jeff
sideline.
Saturday.
For those who didn't hear it or saw it before, so he's on the sideline, and so evidently Jeff Saturday is over there. He had said something because I think they was in the red zone, and he audible all the plays to pass play. So Jeff is over there steaming, right? You need that dog, right? So even though he loves Peyton Manning, that's his quarterback, he's like, man, you need to call the run plays and call the plays that was called. Why are you audible? Then he comes over there. Jeff, you just need to snap the ball and
snap the damn ball.
He said, they going back and forth. He was like, no, you need to just run the plays that's called and stop audible. We could have got that touchdown if you'd have just ran call the run play. Then linemen stick together. See, we don't see that kind of leadership. I think it was the guard got up. Peyton, go sit your ass down. Jay was like, okay. Okay. See, that unit has to be that kind of bond, right? Where they're like, no, man, you're not going to come over here and mess with our unit. Right. And that unit had to have pride to say, man, we could have got a touchdown quarterback if you would just
did what right.
That would have been successful versus padding your stats. Because that's what he was doing. He wanted to pad his stats.
Peyton did a lot of stat padding. He did a lot. Again, that whole 5 wide on the 1 yard line and throwing these little passes. That's stat padding. That's stat padding.
It's that thing.
Man,
like
I'm
I said,
sorry to say, it seemed like to me the Bears are playing like right now, like they don't want nobody to take them to the Cheesecake Factory to get a date.
Because they paying. That's why.
You ain't taking me to the Cheesecake Factory.
Hey, guess what though? They're like I said last week, the Bears don't have that 1 or 2 plays that they have. You ever look at all these top teams that when it's like crunch time, they need to get 2 yards. You know that play is coming and you can't stop it. We ain't got that.
And see, the thing about it is we got DJ Moore. I don't care what happens. If it's 3rd and 2, call the play for DJ Moore. I don't care if he throw him the ball. He is a number 1 wide receiver. You give him the chance to make the play. And that's what they don't do. I've said so many times before, these offensive coordinators get so cute and they try to outsmart people. Guess what? That same defensive coordinator that you're playing against is just as smart as you. Mm-hmm. Keep it simple. It's just like anything. A little marital advice, y'all. Keep it simple. Keep it simple. It's just like the NFL. Keep it simple.
Hey, Devin Hester, man, I hope he getting Hall of Fame next year. But anyway, Devin Hester got this thing out there where he doing this podcast and he talks about when he had got promoted receiver. But anyway, he said Brandon Marshall went up complaining, hey, got into it, Jay, throw me the ball. And then he was like, man, watch it. He batted somebody. He said, man, watch. Jay gonna throw it to him the whole practice. So anyway, whole practice, he said every pass went to him. But anyway, we know some of the games, Jay was like, I'm throwing it to Brandon. I'm throwing it to Brandon. Well, you know what? He your best player. That's what you gotta do, So if we look at it back then, some of that stuff we might have got mad at time. But if you think about the choices you had at receiver, he was throwing it to the guy that was most likely that was gonna come down with it and was gonna fight for it,
There is no way that DJ Moore shouldn't get 10 targets a game.
Right.
And I'm saying that loosely. I'm saying 10 loosely. There's no way that he shouldn't get 10 targets a game.
How many times you seen them like get a pass where they threw it to him? It was either double coverage or it's way off, and he going to get it.
Right.
I remember a game where Brandon Marshall played. It was a Monday night game, and I'm so mad. I remember it so good because my dad, I'll be picking my dad's fantasy team real quick, just off script real quick. My dad had Brandon Marshall, and he was coming off an injury, and they were saying that he wasn't going to play. And I can't remember who they played. It was a Monday night game. And I'm like, don't play Brandon Marshall. He ain't going to play.
Ooh.
He scored 3 touchdowns. He scored 3 touchdowns off of it because Jay Cutler's whole thing was like, I don't care what happened. I'm going to throw Brandon Marshall the football. When you have a number one wide receiver, you throw him the football. And that's just the bottom line.
Did you have a moment where everything was real foggy and all of a sudden your dad's like, hey, son, how you doing?
I texted back. I'm like, Pops, I'm sorry. I'm like, Pops, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Pops. I'm sorry, Pops. But yeah, he scored 3 touchdowns that game. He wasn't even supposed to play coming off an injury. I was a Monday night game. I can't remember who they played against. But he wound up scoring 3 touchdowns that game. So when you got a number one wide receiver, you feed him the ball. You feed him the football.
Thanks.
Yeah. You got to let them know. I guess that's your teammate. You got to let them know. The new sheriff in town. His name is Reggie Hammond. It's DJ Moore.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got to put the fear in the defense and make them honest to know that they have the game plan for your best player. If you don't throw to your best player, they don't have to game plan for that.
They got a game plan for him.
Yeah, because Jerry Rice could be covered by everybody in the stadium. You knew the ball was coming to him.
Yeah, so hey, if y'all have anything else, we're gonna try to close out. I see we had about an hour into the podcast. It looked like the Bears got to run the ball and play good defense.
And game predictions.
Oh, game predictions. I'm sorry. Y'all got y'all game predictions? What y'all got? I knew I was missing something.
As much as I hate to say this.
21-14.
No, you say what?
Bears 21-14.
Okay.
What you got, Jay?
Y'all remember how Aaron Rodgers said last year, I own y'all? Y'all remember that? Yo, go ahead, guy. Y'all remember that?
We get some music.
Y'all remember that? I'm gonna tell y'all something. Devontae Adams' career stats against the Bears. I want to say, if I remember it correctly when I looked it up, his career stats is a total season for a good wide receiver. So I think, if I remember correct, it was 61 receptions for over 1,100 yards and 18 touchdowns. Those are just his career stats against the Bears. So if Aaron Rodgers owned the Bears, he was like the part owner. He the co-owner.
His name Massa.
This dude has had 9 targets in the last 2 games. I think he gets healthy this week, unfortunately. And the Raiders beat the Bears 24-10.
Okay.
I can see why you would say that. That's a valid argument.
I'm just saying. I hope it don't happen, but I'm just saying.
So I'm gonna go Raiders 17, Bears 12.
30-17 Raiders.
30.
Brian Hoyer? Okay.
What does our secondary look like right now? And they got Devontae Adams. And he hasn't eaten, and he hasn't eaten, and God knows he was on a hunger strike.
Oh my God, he hungry. He's so
His
hungry.
family just won the lottery.
He like, I got 9 targets in 2 games. I'm like, oh no, that can't happen.
He had Horace Dovers and Fellet Menon.
Yeah.
Hey, so quick recap. We got Jay picked the Bears. Jay picked the Raiders 24-10. Plank picked the Bears 21-14. I got the Raiders 17-12. Guy has the Raiders 30-17. Okay. So hey, we're tuning in Sunday. It's a noon game, so we'll see you approximately about what 3:30.
I'm gonna try. I was gonna say I don't know if I'm gonna make the post game. It's I'll be so traumatic after the games.
Yeah, I hear you, Jay.
So
All right.
We'll see.
Thank everybody for tuning in. Peace.
Peace.